Hello, my name is Steve Bailey. I rarely get on YouTube personally because, well, not exactly photogenic and all that. But listen, I have a special reason I want to do this. First off, let me establish my credentials. I have been a film critic in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, for one of the local newspapers for over 10 years, and I've been a film buff since I was a kid. So if I say something that's fairly decent, I hope that you can and will take my word for it that it is. First off, before I get into my main reason for taping this, I'd like to give a shout out to some of my friends on Twitter who are also film buffs. I have a ton of friends on Twitter, so if your name is not in this list, please don't take it personally. I'm mainly trying to address some of the so called TCM party people who are deathly interested in film. And that would include Kelly Pratt, Aurora Diamond, Patricia Nolan Hall, Teresa Brown, Stuart Grist, Matthew Titus, and someone whom I only know by his Twitter name, Queso del Diablo. Hi, everybody. This is Steve, and I appreciate your input immensely and enjoy talking to you about movies and other stuff. So I want to make sure I got your name in. Now, as for everybody else, the main reason I am doing this is because if you are not familiar with the Twitter format, there is something that they do called live tweets, which is if somebody has a movie or a TV show or a clip that they want to show, they set up a time for it, let everybody know about it, and then let's say at 8 o'clock on Friday night they set it up. At 8 o'clock on Friday, you go in, you watch the movie with them, and they usually give you a hashtag to talk to people by. Like, say the hashtag is Friday Movie. You would make your comments about the movie and type in hashtag Friday Movie at the end. This is a lot of fun. I've been doing it for years, and there are a lot of film-based live tweets. One of them is called SatMat, SATMAT, just like it says, just like it sounds. And I was running it for a while, and then I gave up on it for lack of time, so I passed it on to other people, such as Queso del Diablo, who does a wonderful job with it. But this weekend, April 11, I wanted to make sure that I could possibly guest host this, which I am, guest hosting the SatMat, because I discovered that, for however briefly, one of my all-time favorite screwball comedies is currently available on YouTube. And that is called The Palm Beach Story from 1942, directed and written by Preston Sturges. I saw this first in 1987 when I was briefly living in LA. I believe it was the Museum of Modern Art in LA. I saw it one Saturday night. It happened to be the anniversary of Mary Astor's death, which they were eager to point out there. But I had a roommate who said, "Oh, you love comedy? You've never seen Preston Sturges?" Which I hadn't up to that point. And so he took me to this movie, and I was just absolutely floored. I have it is the only comedy in my life where I have ever laughed all the way through the ending credits, and that is not an exaggeration. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, and it's joyful. That's the one thing about it. The other thing about it is it's joyful. There are many comedies that are funny, but at the same time they're a little bit hostile because I don't know, they have a bone to pick with a particular subject matter, or they want to be in bad taste. This is nothing like that. This is just an exploration of a married couple. They happen to be named Tom and Geraldine, although they are referred to in the movie as Tom and Jerry. See what Preston Sturges did there. And Tom is a failed inventor, and Jerry is his cutesy wife who wants to use her feminine wiles to help Tom sell his inventions. And he wouldn't have any of it. He wants to sell the inventions on their own merits, which is why he's not a successful inventor. So we start with an opening. I'm not going to get into it because I definitely don't want to ruin the movie for people with spoilers. But we start off with an opening that is one of the greatest openings in the history of comedy because it explains absolutely nothing. It's hilarious. It's frantic. It moves all over the place, and then all the time you're scratching your head saying, "What does this have to do with anything?" None of this adds up. Well, to me, it is Preston Sturges' way of saying, "Listen, do we have to get exposition for every little thing we do? Just trust me on this ride, and I will get you there." And sure enough, he does. and it's just a sparkling comedy, full of wonderful scenes, great visuals. The scene with Joel McRae and Claudette Colbert, who play Tom and Jerry, the scene of them intermingling on the couch, shall we say, after their dinner, just one of the sexiest things I've ever seen. Without anybody taking their clothes off doing anything rude, you just sit there and marvel at it. And lots of great supporting cast, as I say. Mary Astor, superb. Rudy Valley, also wonderful. And also, Preston Sturges has a regular stock company of people. So many people, you may not recognize most of them unless you watch his movies regularly, but definitely one of them is William Demarest, who played Uncle Charlie from My Three Sons. And if you're like I was, and you never saw William Demarest in anything other than Uncle Charlie, he's a revelation in the Preston Sturges comedies, as he is here. I can't say enough about this wonderful movie. We are going through such a terrible time right now. I don't mind telling you, and I've told everybody else, I hope you'll forgive me, my wife died last month. And it happened just before the pandemic took place in America, or really made it big in America. And so it's been a real topsy-turvy month for everybody I know, including me, because it's kind of like that's piled up on top of everything else. Frankly, I'm glad she wasn't around to have to endure that, as sick as she was. But my point being, everybody is going through grief right now. We're going through isolation, insanity. People are about to tear their hair out, and they're looking for any sort of diversion. This is the most wonderful diversion you could possibly ask for. Since I've seen this movie over 30 years ago, I have been its self-designated cheerleader. I've seen many comedies that are superb, but there are very few that mainline you with joy from the very start. And for me, this is one of them. And I actually wrote to Preston Sturges' widow one time a few years ago. I saw her email available on the internet. Her name is Sandy Sturges, and I wrote to her professing my love for her husband's comedies, and she wrote me back a very nice letter, and she said basically, what a wonderful experience to be seeing these comedies through your eyes for the first time. And if you have not seen a Preston Sturges comedy, and especially if you have not seen The Palm Beach Story, you are in for a real treat. I beg of you to join us. Okay? It is available in any case on YouTube. I don't know how long it is going to last. There is a copy on YouTube, and that's what I'm going to use on Saturday for the movie. And the only bugaboo is it has Russian subtitles. Don't ask me why. But they're not that distracting. Not distracting enough that you can't enjoy the movie. But the movie's copyright is owned by MCA/Universal, and they're very picky about keeping their copyrighted movies off of the internet unless they paid for it. So this probably won't last long. So see it while you can, and if at all possible, I hope you will see it with us this Saturday at our regular SatMat group. Now again, it has a hashtag, and that hashtag is, just like it looks here, hashtag SatMat, S-A-T-M-A-T. It starts at 4:30 Eastern Time on Saturday, April 11, and I wish I could think of more, but that's all I have to say about it. It's just a splendid movie. It has me laughing every time. And so please join us for the Palm Beach Story at SatMat, the live tweet on Twitter, on Saturday, April 8th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I always plug my movies a half an hour before they start, so when you get to Twitter after 4 o'clock, just start looking for search for the hashtag SatMat, and it will provide you with a link to the movie and everything. And one final thing I'd like to mention, speaking of TCM Party, I'd like to give a shout out to Joe Mankiewicz, whom I have never met in my life, but he is obviously a terrific host on Turner Classic Movies. It so happened that TCM last month sponsored a nationwide one-night showing of King Kong, the original classic from 1933. And I've always been a King Kong buff since I was a kid. It so happened that they showed it about a week after my wife died. And my daughter and I decided we needed a diversion then anyway, so we went to the theater. But before that, I made a remark about, and that was right when the pandemic was starting to take hold in America as well. And I wrote this snarky email saying that I'm going out, and despite the pandemic coming up, I'm going out to see King Kong and blame it on Joe Mankiewicz. And I used his Twitter tag to say that. Blame it on Joe Mankiewicz. I meant it as just a silly remark, but he actually wrote me back a very, very nice email giving me condolences about my wife and so forth. And I I didn't expect him to even read it, much less give a reply. So I was very floored and I thought it was very kind. So, Mr. Mankiewicz, continued good work on your TCM stuff, and I think I finally reached all that I can say. If you would like to write to me, I don't have any idea why. I might as well plug a couple of personal things I have here. I have a movie blog. It's called Movie Blog 2, which is a continuation of the first one that I did, which got halted at one point. But anyway, if you'd like to read some of my movie reviews, go to wordpress.movie blog and then II for 2. Movie blog 2. Let me repeat that. wordpress.movie blog II.com. And if you'd like to write me personally, I am at sbailey784 at yahoo.com. And I'm sorry, one other thing I'd like to mention. A couple of years ago, I did a 68-episode podcast devoted to two of my favorite comedians, Laurel and Hardy. And you can find that online at anchor.fm/hardboiled eggs and nuts. That's the name of the podcast, Hardboiled Eggs and Nuts, and it's all one word. So again, go online to anchor.fm/hardboiled eggs and nuts and listen to it, and I hope you'll enjoy and share my opinions on the great Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. That's all I have to say. I appreciate your indulgence, especially those who have no idea who the feck I am. But again, please, Palm Beach Story, 4:30 Saturday at Twitter, at the Twitter hashtag SatMat. Please be there. Looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.